Forgiveness is actually a long discussion, but let me clarify a few points today. To start with, let me give you an example of Emily. I met her in Australia. She came from an Asian family. Now, immediately after her marriage, her husband's parents and close relatives, they started harassing her. In fact, they would not let her stay with her husband. The husband worked in a different city. And very cleverly, they made her leave her own job and work in the family business as a receptionist and made her do other work. And then there was, of course, no money paid and verbal abuse. Now, needless to say, it was a huge torture both for Emily as well as for her husband, because he discovered much later what was happening to Emily. Now, all these years, she says that she kept on forgiving them time and time again. However, in life, she developed cancer, survived it, and it was actually a very difficult journey for her. Now, today, everything has reversed. Those people have become old, their business has gone. Emily has her own wonderful business. She is doing very well, and her husband is there. Now, they need her help. They are old. Now, few questions have to be answered. One, if Emily had forgiven them, then why did she continue suffering? And today, what kind of help is she morally bound to give to those people? To understand forgiveness, firstly, let us understand what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness does not mean that I condone the actions of others. It does not mean that I am willing now for the same level of relationship. It does not mean that unconditionally all that you have done to me is forgotten. It does not mean anything of that. Forgiveness is two things. It concerns almost entirely with me, myself. It doesn't concern the perpetrator of the crime. Let me tell you about the problem with good people. This is called the problem of goodness. As a good person, I am always feeling guilty about something or the other because I have very high and pure standards of righteousness. And my friends, guilt is not always about what I have done. Mostly, guilt is about what has been done to me. In Emily's case, she kept feeling guilty all her life, that maybe it was her fault that those people reacted like that. Maybe it was her fault that one day she told her husband everything. And it was because of that his relationship with his own people was damaged. Maybe she wasn't good enough. Similarly, in our society, if a crime is committed, they will always tell the girl, "It is your fault. Why were you dressed like that? Why did you go out at night?" As if it is all something that she has done, and the criminal has done nothing. So, first and foremost, we have to sit down, analyze ourselves, and remove any guilt from our mind. If I have done nothing wrong, then I need not feel guilty. When I am able to remove that guilt, 50% of the problem is over. The second part is that I need to let go of what has happened. See, the point is that the person who has committed the crime or has committed the bad behavior, that person is fine. But I relive that insult, that behavior, that crime every day of my life. Every moment I think of them, I relive that. For me, that crime is perpetuating on and on, over and over, even though it is over. It is finished. That is very damaging to me. That reliving of the moments is what causes cancer and all disease in me. And coupled with guilt, it is a very deadly combination. So, whereas I don't have a standard formula for forgiveness, but it all depends on the situation. So, the first thing I said, forgiveness does not mean that I have to condone the action of the other person or forget about it and I am ready for life again so that you can come and slap me all over again. No, that is not on. Many times, I have to let go of those people. I have seen many cases in my own life. I have had to let go of people who were toxic to me or to my family. That's all right. Sometimes, if you can't let go of such people, you need to put your foot down that this is not to be tolerated. And at that point, you can have some frank discussions or whatever, depending. But that has to be done for your own safety, for your own self-respect and regard. And once all that is done, then you will find that the behavior or the crime stops to perpetuate. We are not to feel guilty that we have said something to that person to stop the crime. No. For example, in Emily's case, once her husband discovered that she was not at fault, he mustered the courage and brought her home. And he also told his own people that it was not to be tolerated. Yes, being a good man, he kept feeling guilty, felt bad, but he did the right thing. Now, in this age, when the tables have changed, when lives have reversed, Emily is under no obligation to once again leave her business and life and look after these people. And once again, listen to stuff from them. As a human being, she has to show kindness. She cannot have two things: revenge, resentment. That she cannot have, because that perpetuates the karmic cycle. If she takes revenge and has continued resentment, that resentment will cause disease to her, and that revenge will perpetuate the cycle of karma. That she doesn't have to do. But she has every right to live her life. And if she wants to help them as a human being, she can do it. And probably she should. But never to accept crime. So, friends, there are many situations which can happen and which do happen to people. But as long as we remember that righteousness does not mean that unrighteousness should be tolerated. I have to do righteousness to myself as well. And I need to love myself as well. I need to have empathy for the other people as well. But it is not an unconditional forgetting of what has been done and never putting myself right there again and say, okay, now perpetuate. That is not on. Definitely not on. But remember the keywords: no anger, no resentment, no revenge, and empathy. And many times it is all right to keep those people away and live your life wishing everyone well. Thank you.